I mean, Texas, the biggest thing to deal with where we're at here, I mean, we're in South Texas, so we get a lot of that Gulf moisture. And humidity is pretty important inside of a wine cooler as well. So you want to make sure that that we get the humidity knocked down, but not too dry. I mean, we get a lot of high humidity days, and especially in the spring here in the fall, we get a lot of that. So I know when we design the house, we typically in a big custom like that, we're designing in dehumidification systems and stuff like that to control the house. But the wine cellar specifically is pretty important as well. You don't want a real low moisture content in there. You don't want the corks to dry out, and you don't want to ruin any product. So humidity is a big one. And then the heat. There's times where it gets 105, 108 degrees here, and just the air conditioners can't keep up, and it's real hard on the equipment. And that's another issue to look at. Some of these self-contains, some of them need to end up being have high ambient kits on them where they can run in temperatures over 100 degrees like that. And where you're getting your condenser air from is real important on a self-contained unit. You don't want to. You get guys that take it right off of the roof deck, and that air is 160 degrees. Well, it'll kill that machine. It's not going to function right, and you're going to end up seeing machine failures because they're just not made for that kind of temperature. I mean, I'm probably more of a fan of the split systems. Reason being is service-wise, usually the split systems, they run off of standard parts you can find at the refrigeration stores. Little motors, controllers, stuff like that. So parts availability is probably a little easier for us on the split systems. In the split systems, you don't have to bring in your condenser air and your discharge air. You don't have to worry about all of that stuff. The split systems, we can hide it with no ductwork inside the cooler, so you don't have any ductwork issues. There's a lot of benefits to that. Self-contains, the parts on those, you're going to find a lot more proprietary parts. So, if something goes down, we're going to have to order it from Wish or Cool and bring it in that way. But some of the remote condensing units for the split systems have to go far away from the unit, and with the self-contains now, you don't have to worry about your refrigeration piping and power outside and stuff like that. We just need a power source inside there, so that they've got both systems. They've both got pros and cons to them. So it really depends on where this thing is going. Yeah, there's so many different options, and you get into weird scenarios that like right now we've got a customer that you would think that they would do one cooler, but it's two coolers. So it's a cooler, and then it goes into this old-timey telephone booth, and then there's a second cooler on the other side of that booth. So a split system with no ductwork is not going to work there. We ended up putting a self-contained, and you have to it needs to be sized to handle the load of both coolers, and it was wide off, and now you get ductwork in both sides of the cooler. Get supply ductwork and return ductwork, and so you run into some different, really challenging different applications that people come up with that they want, and it all turns out neat. It's just you can't have one system to do everything. It does take all of them to be able to do it. So. We do the maintenance plans for, say like a new construction build, a custom home or something we do. We take care of the air conditioning equipment, and typically those are looked at twice a year. And we can throw that right into the wine equipment as well while we're there. Things like cleaning the condenser coil, drain lines. If you take care of this stuff off the bat and keep it clean, keep it maintained, it's going to last you much longer. Heat is the number one killer for these machines. Any kind of part. But car, automotive, air conditioning, doesn't matter what it is. any kind of electrical motors, the hotter they run, the quicker they fail. So if we keep this machine clean and taken care of, it's going to do nothing but extend the life of this equipment. So I'm a firm believer of the maintenance, but I unfortunately you get some people that don't see it the way I see it. They only call when it breaks. But if you catch, say, like a capacitor failure, there's a good one. Capacitors have a microfarad rating that they're good for. Say it's a 20 microfarad plus or minus 6%. So, a typical motor or compressor will operate with that capacitor out of that range. The problem is the capacitor makes the motor run efficiently. The further out of that range the capacitor goes, the hotter the motor runs, the quicker the failure occurs. So if we're there doing a maintenance and we see a 20 microfarad capacitor plus or minus 6%, and it's down to 12 microfarad or 13, we can go to the homeowner and say, look, this needs to be replaced. We caught the capacitor before it failed. Therefore, you prevent the failure of the compressor or the fan motor or whatever is hooked to that capacitor. So that's the benefit of the maintenance. The motor never saw the failure. There go, we save a motor. Or it really kills me. We see it probably once or twice a year. A capacitor will fail on a compressor, and the homeowner will just leave it on. Without that capacitor in place, it will burn that compressor up. So now we've taken a couple of $100 real simple repair for a capacitor, and now it's a several $1,000 repair. And it odds are, if they'd had preventative maintenance done, they could have caught that and saved themselves a lot of money. So I see it happen. So I'm definitely a fan of preventative maintenance.